legacy and generosity. And we have some expert panelists that I'd like to have them come up and take the podium now. We have Gina Cotton, and Gina is from the Seniors Foundation, and Gina is the fundraising arm for Aging Partners. And so even though Aging Partners is a government ran entity, there are some expenses that aren't covered by their budget. And so Gina helps them fill in the gaps. And then everybody knows of Roper and Sons Funeral Home and Services here in Lincoln. And Tom is the third generation funeral director. Fourth generation, okay, I stand corrected. And so this guy knows a lot about leaving legacies and the do's and the don'ts. And then we have Les Robbins, who's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist up from Omaha, Nebraska, here to talk to us about giving and charity and all those kinds of things. So I just wanted to share with you, though, before we started, I looked up the definition of legacy this morning. And it says, legacy, the amount of money or property left to someone in a will. Like my grandmother died unexpectedly and left me a small legacy. But the other definition is the long-lasting impact of a particular events, actions, etc. that took place in the past or one person's life. So when we think about legacy, it's not always the monetary things, but it's what we leave behind in feelings and traditions and things that we can pass down to our families. So I just want everybody to grab the mic and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your organizations and what you do and why you do what you do.
Everybody hear me? Okay. My name is Tom Roper, and I'm with Roper and Sons. Our firm this year is 124 years old. So this started with my great grandfather back in 1901, and so we've been around a long time. We were downtown for a number of years, and then we moved out to O Street. I think it was in about the mid '60s. And then that was the only firm that we had, except for that we had a branch out in Havelock for about 65 years and finally gave that one up. But we have a new facility down on 40th and Yankee Hill, which is a newer facility, much larger. And then we purchased Metcalf Funeral Home, I think it was about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. So. I actually started part-time in the firm when this was in 1982, and so thinking back, and I was just telling somebody today that I've been working there for 43 years now and have been licensed for roughly about 40, so I think I've just about seen it all.
I bet you have. I bet you got some stories.
I've seen it all, so I'll go ahead and pass it on. Thank you.
I'm Gina Cotton with the Seniors Foundation. Welcome. First of all, seniors are my favorite population. In college, I had a professor, Professor Sondrager. She was like, "You are going into gerontology, aren't you?" And I said, "Oh no, absolutely not." She saw something in me that I did not see until I was much older in my career. And I had a lady say, "Oh, don't bother with me." My heart broke. And she was older, and she kind of sunk back to the back of the room. I thought, no, you built this community. You are not a bother. So when the opportunity came to raise money, I can raise money blindfolded for a cause I care about. And seniors is a cause I definitely care about. So when I heard that Aging Partners doesn't quite meet all the needs of our seniors, and they need a little extra help, then they come to me. We're not a big organization, we're a very small organization, but we are boots on the ground. And my goal is to say yes, if there's a senior in need in our community, that the Seniors Foundation has the funds to say yes to their needs.
Thank you. Alicia, thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Les Robbins. I grew up here in Lincoln, and I moved to Omaha about 40 years ago. And I consider Lincoln my home, and right now Omaha is my hometown. So I'm back here in my home here in Lincoln. I grew up, like I said, just at southeast Lincoln. I went to school at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, became a CPA, did the CPA profession for a while, and then got out to did some entrepreneurial ventures, I guess you'd call them. Done many business things, and but you know, you talk about leaving a legacy, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. But you know, legacy that you leave is who you leave behind. You know, it's like, and I've been at Roper's and Sons. I mean, I've been there many times. Tom and I were talking before. Our grandparents, whatever, and family members were buried there. But you know, it's my joy to be here today to talk to you about leaving a legacy. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming here to talk to us today. We're just going to start getting right into these questions here. Gina, you already talked about it a little bit, but can you tell us more about what's inspired you to get involved in fundraising and specifically for the Senior Focus?
So I've seen a direct impact of money raised. We had a gal recently that needed a lift chair, and it was the weekend, and she was definitely in need. So Aging Partners, like I said, handles most of the needs, but that is something that falls outside. And for them to call us, I have my cell phone there, we have an emergency fund, and it's all vetted through the Aging Partners, and we were able to say, yes, something as simple as a lift chair. This lady was so grateful. First of all, she feels forgotten. I'm like, you are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. There are people that care about you and that will take care of you. So those kind of heartwarming, they're small, but they're impactful. And that is a goal for me personally, is to make a difference in actually helping people.
Yeah, and I bet she thinks about you and thanks you every time she has to get out of that chair. Just those little things are what makes a difference sometimes. So Les, could you tell us, how did you decide what causes that you'd support through your Giving Foundation, how that happened?
Well, I'm a fond member of seniors, or love seniors too. I happen to think I am a senior. I'll be 70 here in May, so I'm not too much younger than most of the people here, older than TJ, of course. But one of my business ventures was building assisted living. So we started right around the turn of the century, and we built in 4 different communities in the Iowa assisted living communities. We went on to do memory care also. And so when we sold that in 2011, we were blessed beyond our wildest needs. And so we started a foundation, Robbins Family Charitable Foundation. And in that foundation, you know, we decide on an annual basis who we're going to give to. And we do scholarships, and we do different types of giving. But we really look at the organizations where we can make an impact. And you can give to United Way, and to me it's like peeing into the ocean, okay? Because where's your impact? We'd rather be like, let's call it a wave that makes a change. And so we give to organizations with smaller net worths and net assets, like $250,000 or less, that have limited budgets that really, when we give them money, it really makes an impact. I can talk more about that sometime, about one in particular if we get, but some of them. But you know, that, to us, it's trying to make an impact, trying to make the world a better place, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, great. Well, Tom, what are some meaningful ways that families can honor loved ones' legacy through their funeral planning?
Well, number one is communication is huge. That's one of the things that we see almost daily is when an individual passes and they really have never communicated either with us about what they want for themselves, or for their families, what they want for themselves. And by communication, I mean, one of the things that I'm very proud of, and that is that my father, who was in the business for several years, didn't retire until he was 91, which is probably a little too late for him, but he's still around doing good. But one of the things that he has seen over the years, and I've seen over the years, is things like legacy planning for yourself, either financially or doing your funerals ahead of time and getting your wishes put down. So he's a great planner. He got his will accomplished a number of years ago. Communicates with us 4 boys about what he wanted, and as far as the funeral, I finally talked to him about 5 years ago and found out exactly what he wants to do, because his plans actually changed over time. And I'm going to have gospel choir. I want this to be a big party, and
Hope I'm invited.
oh yeah. So, but yeah, I think communication and just getting things down on paper is tremendously.
Communication is key. Good. Well, Gina, how does the Senior Foundation ensure that the donations that are given are making an impact and are effectively used to making that lasting impact the way that they wanted to?
One of the benefits of being a small organization is that you have hands-on eyes to see where the money is being used, and it's on our website. We have an example of when COVID happened, we served a lot of people meals at Aging Partners. They closed down the cafeteria. Now these people have nowhere to go for food. So they call the Seniors Foundation, like, what do we do? And like, well, you deliver the food, but we don't have a van. So we need to purchase 2 vans. We see those vans with our own eyes, and they were out delivering food. The other thing that happened with that is what the volunteers noticed is that these people were very alone and isolated, which is something else that happened during COVID. So there was a program called NeighborWorks. I don't know if NeighborLink, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a volunteer program where you basically adopt a senior and you call on them. Do you need anything? Can I pick anything up from the grocery store? You see our work in action. We're very public about it. And if you have any questions, you can always call any of us and we will talk to you about it. But we're very transparent in what we do with our funds.
Great, that's awesome. And to see them getting the meals, I mean, that is, you are making an impact on a daily basis. Let's see, Les. What challenges did you face in setting up your foundation, and what advice would you give for somebody who might be considering doing that?
Well, I have a CPA background, so
Would you like to know what CPA stands for?
Yeah, tell me, Alicia. Tell them what it stands for.
Well, no, not here, but this is my brother, and we do have a special T-shirt for him.
I'll say it's certified pain in the ass. I use that a lot because it usually brings a laugh. But I was, we sold the assisted livings and we had this pool of funds we were trying to figure out what to do with, and I always had a goal, to donate, make a big donation like this, and leave a legacy for years beyond my existence here on Earth. Well, still happens with our son. One of our sons was working at a CPA firm. And so John could do all the paperwork, and we worked with his firm, and I was beyond working at a CPA firm. I'd been out in public accounting for like 15 years at the time. And so, John set it up for us, and it was pretty seamless as far as getting that all taken care of. So it's not really a big challenge. A foundation's not for everybody. I mean, there's donor advised funds that you can do, similar type things. There's charitable intertrust that you can do. There's a lot of ways to plan for, ultimately giving away your assets. And some of that, you can give your assets away while you're still here on the earth and see the blessings that it provides. I'm kind of that way. I like to give it away while I'm here so I can see what's happening. I'm not waiting till the end to do it.
Good. Well, Tom, can you tell us what are some of the regrets that families have when they don't have their wishes down, when they haven't passed on a legacy? What are some of those main things that are there a common theme or some that stick out in your mind?
I day in and day out. As a matter of fact, I had 2 individuals actually 2 couples that wanted to prearrange with themselves yesterday, so I had them in. But every single day we meet with individuals who don't have anything written down or anything communicated with the family, versus those that do. And so, things like, some of your background information that would appear on the desk of it, which then starts the financial process after you pass, Social Security, those type of things. And but people who do this ahead of time is such a gift to the family. I even have people who didn't even know that mom or dad had prearranged for themselves. It was one of the first things we do to go back to these fireproof, safe cabinets that we've got, which we have thousands and thousands of prearrangements back there. And so if we find a file, then we bring it up with the family. When did they do this? And so you've got to guide exactly what an individual wants to do. I mean, even if it's, what we call a direct cremation, no service versus like what I'm going to have, which, we have a gospel choir and have a party and have a great time. But it's extremely beneficial, and I don't mean this from my standpoint, from the family standpoint, whichever firm that you go to, it's invaluable, it really is.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
And that helps them carry on their legacy and let them know what their wishes are. So,
Exactly.
and that would be very helpful to the families, I could see that. Gina, what are some unique ways that people may have left some financial or non-financial legacies through your organization?
Well, we had a recent one. We had somebody pass and say, in lieu of flowers, please give to the Seniors Foundation, which is we're always very welcoming of that. That's awesome. People that their parents have spent a lot of time at Aging Partners, and we are the 501c3 giving arm for Aging Partners. So that's a surprise and nice. We've had legacy gifts where we'll get a surprise and a state gift is left. Oh my gosh, you talk about dancing in the office. That is amazing when that happens. It doesn't happen a lot because we're very small, so we don't have a big voice. I'm a one-man show. So when those come in, it's amazing. But we do get a lot of talent. So our board, I mentioned, is the most active board. I've served on a ton of boards in my lifetime here in Lincoln. It's the most active board I've ever seen. If you saw my table, that's me and my board. They literally cut out those stickers and made the stickers and put everything out there. We have nothing fancy, but they are very active with their time, very generous with their time. We have a board meeting at noon today. There's 20 of them, and they're what can we do, what can we do? I've never, ever experienced anything like that, so it's amazing.
That's great. So the gift of time and generosity of your time and volunteering is very helpful too. Les, how has generosity shaped your own personal and professional success?
Let me think here a little bit. I'd say I always thought I was a generous person. I still try to be, and that's kind of the way I live my life. So as I got more financially successful, I would give one. I think the more that you give, the more you get back, and that's kind of the way it works. And it was never really about the money for me when I was doing all my work and some of the projects we were working on and doing these real estate deals and developments and building things. But the money came at the end, and I'll tell you a little story. I've got a tenant in one of our buildings, and his name of his company is G1 Transportation. So I asked him, what does G1 stand for? Guess what? God first. And so I guess we're in a church, so I probably say this: so keep your faith out there. Don't force it on anybody. But I think being a man of faith has helped me to attain some successes that I didn't really dream about.
Okay, great, thank you. Tom, have you ever seen an unexpected way or some creative way that somebody has left a gift of legacy or passed down their legacy that's really inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I glean daily just things that people can do, and things like okay, so if I sit down with a family of Doug McGowan, right, Waffle Man, and so, but I don't know anything about him, so what we do is just start asking some questions of the family, and tells me who Doug McGowan was. Well, he was the waffle guy, and well, let's serve up some waffles unless you don't want. There you had enough waffles over time. But there's people who regret not really knowing what it is that mom or dad was about, what they wanted to do, how they conducted their lives. There's some people that you just don't know, and so you get in a conference room and you start asking some questions, and everybody starts looking at each other. What do you think? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Again, it goes back to communication, either with your family or with us. Exactly what you want.
Okay, great. Gina, what role do planned giving options like endowments, charitable trust, what role do those play in leaving a lasting legacy?
Well, they play a large role because usually those are a little bit larger gifts, and we can do bigger things with those. Those are more in the grant category. So at Aging Partners, for example, I think I raised $500,000 through grants. And those type of availabilities are immensely important to us. Excuse me. So there's the Schmeeding. Somebody told me they worked out at Aging Partners. The Schmeeding Foundation is there. There's the Presbyterian Foundation is there, the Emmanuel Lutheran is there. There's a lot of people that have lasting effects, and you can actually have your name on a wall if that's something you choose. We have a lot of people that give smaller gifts that say, I don't want anything. Well, you're gonna get at least a letter from me, you're gonna get a lunch from me, I wanna meet you. And the legacy is long after that person has passed, then I get to deal with the families. And I always let them know what we're doing with the funds that they were given and how many people that has impacted. So they're huge for us.
And what is the response from the families? Do they usually know that these gifts were given, or has it been a surprise to the family, and what was their reaction?
Both. So very similar. It's like, I had no idea. First of all, there's a lot of people that are out of state and they really don't know what's going on, and they're shocked, and they're not as in the community as we are. But the local people are like, yes, my mother loved Aging Partners and she talked about it all the time, and they fully expected it, and they are telling their friends, and they love it. And they love the communication giving back to them, because it just warms their heart to know that we think of them.
Yeah. Let's see, Les, what questions do I have for you next? Les has a book there. Les, you want to hold up your book? He's written a book.
It's right out in front of me, Alicia.
It's called The Road Less Traveled, LES. And
You put it there, by the way.
I did, I put it up there. For others. So Les, what inspired you to write this book, and what impact do you think this will make, or what impact do you want this to make on your family? I know it's already impacted me, and I read it, and I knew everything in the book, so.
I don't think you knew everything in the
I
book. So actually, I did write this book many years ago. Does anyone have a to-do list that they just never get everything done on? Well, and I had the title picked out, The Road Less Traveled, kind of play on the word, The Road Less Traveled. And 2 years ago, our son gave me a subscription to Storyworth, which what happens is every week I get an email with a question answer, you know, and you type it in and it automatically saves. So I didn't have to worry about the computer blowing up and this, and save it on some big server. And so I got into that, and he queued up 50 questions. I took most of them, added some of my own stories to it. But it was really something that I intended to do, but I hadn't got around to do. And so it was one of those journeys. It took me 2 years to do it, and off and on, mostly off. But you know, when I sat down, I'd be at a deal like this, or be out in the community, and I'd say, I'd email myself, I gotta put this in the book. And I got chapters in there about a family. It's basically faith, family, a little bit about vocation, but mostly faith and family. And I got a chapter in there called Grandkids Say the Darndest Thing, play off Arklink letters, kids say the darndest thing. So I have a story about every one of my grandkids. That's been, and how do I hope it impact? I mean, you know, Tom is a fourth generation business owner. I just hope that, you know, sometime 100 years from now, someone picks up that book and one of my offspring and say, oh, that's what Grandpa was like.
Or my great-great-grandpa. That was my great-great-grandpa. So Tom, when we're talking about these conversations that we need to have, how do we broach that subject? I know maybe sometimes it's the older adult that doesn't want to talk about. Maybe sometimes it's the family. Maybe the kids don't want to talk about mom and dad passing away. How do we start those conversations and get those going?
Well, there's just some families, some individuals that really, I mean, who wants to bring up death?
Right.
And for those individuals, it just makes it so much harder down the road. And so I think that you know, whether you're a son or daughter, husband, wife, start having those conversations. I mean, there's a lot of things that people put off. I mean, wills and you know, what are you going to leave behind to your children? Well, what kind of service do you want? You know, I mean, just again, I keep going back and harping on communication, but you know, sitting down. I had a family yesterday, for example, that they have one child, one daughter, and she is, according to them, an extremely emotional individual, and she is not one that's able to handle these types of situations. For example, like the wills, their funeral planning, they wanted to get it done so that they don't push that burden back onto their daughter. So I get that all the time,
I bet.
trust me.
Okay. Gina, can you share a story of someone who's made a meaningful contribution and how that's impacted their sense of legacy? Do you have a specific person in mind that's made a kind of a creative or significant legacy? And it doesn't have to be financial, it could be a volunteer or something.
If I can do the volunteer part.
Sure.
I have a gal, her name is Georgianne, she's retired off the board now. She was on the board for the full three-year terms, and I adore her. And to this day, I don't send anything out without it going through Georgianne. I am a high energy person, and sometimes I skim over the top of things. Big picture girl, and Georgianne would go, Gina, there was a typo, that was the wrong grammar, oh my gosh. To this day, she still helps me, and she is in my heart and in my soul. She's retired from Wesleyan. She's a very smart lady, and she is so impactful in my life, and she's my biggest cheerleader. You can do it, you can do it, we've got this. And I love that I've got something in my world that just brings me down to reality and makes sure I have the details right. So it's more of the people that I get to work with that make long-lasting impressions.
Well, that's great, yeah, I like that. Les, how do you hope that your children and grandchildren will carry on your legacy of giving?
Well, we have the Robbins Family Charitable Foundation, which is one way, and to be on, we have the board that consists of my wife and I and our children and their spouses. So when the kids had girlfriends or significant others, they couldn't be on the board, but once they marry into the family, you might say, then they got on the board. You know, it's my hope that, we haven't figured this out yet, but at some point in time, we'll have the grandkids that'll be carrying on behind us. And our oldest granddaughter will be 14 this year. I'm not quite sure that's, she's probably not old enough, but I think when she gets a little bit older, I think then, there'll probably be some age where we'll invite the grandkids on to the board. Because it's my intent that this will be around here 100 years from now, that the Robbins Family Charitable Foundation will continue to give to needy causes. And we have it adequately funded, and my kids probably, you know, my wife and I have a little disagreement about funding more of it when we die. I'd like to put more money into it. She seems to think that maybe the kids might want to have that money or whatever, but we'll work those details out. But I think that's a way of doing that. The other thing about legacy is it's not just money. It's way beyond that. I mean, I care about money, but I don't really care about it as much. I mean, like I said, it was never really about the money, but it's more what you pass on to the generation from the time you spend with your grandkids. I mean, to me, that's the most important thing. So we try to be present in their lives and try to actually make an impact so that they remember not just, you know, grandma and grandpa by spending time with us and doing things like that. I'll tell you a quick story. So, 9-year-old grandson and I, we went to the car show downtown. They had a big Royal Wales car show on Sunday. We pull up and the guy tries to give us tickets to the baseball game, which Creighton was playing. I said, I didn't really realize that Creighton was playing. So we go into the car show in Calhoun. He wants to go to the baseball game. So we went to the baseball game. So we're on the way home and he goes, can I do a sleepover? This is Sunday night. He says, and I said, no, I think we're taking home. And we passed the corner, we turned into our neighborhood. He goes, Grandpa, you missed a turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the kind of impact that we can make on the next generation that I think is most significant.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Tom, you've had a lot of experiences with people leaving legacies and leaving things behind and making sure that their wishes are known. But in your experience, what have been some of the most lasting, non-financial legacies that people have left behind that you can remember?
Well, you learn by other people's mistakes. And so that's one of the things that we try to do with individuals is how creative can we possibly be? One story that I have, I had a great uncle out in the western part of the state that we used to go out and visit, and the guy he was a rancher, and big old tough guy, and we'd go out up in the Buttes and in his pickup, and he never put me in a seatbelt. We're bouncing all over the place and doing all that kind of stuff. The guy he was a fascinating guy. And so it came time that he had passed. And I was shocked at the service that we had for him, because there was nothing about him at all. Even though the family met with the minister, you know, it would have been nice if maybe some of the family maybe got up and said some things. And it was really from that point on that I decided, you know what, I don't like that. So let's start doing some things. Let's just be creative about what it is that we do. I mean, we're the first ones that started doing videos. That was over 20 years ago, and I'll never forget when we started to learn how to do these videos. I actually did one with my children. They were very young at the time, and so then I put pictures then with music, and I sat there and cried. I mean, it was an emotional deal for me. So, but you know, you can do a lot of things. You just have to be creative about it, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money to do. And so that's I think it's just important to think outside the box.
Yeah,
Think outside the box.
do something different.
Yep.
It's right at time for our break. We are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up our questions, and then we'll have a Q&A. So start thinking of questions that you might have for our panel. And we will meet back in this room in 5 minutes, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to introduce you to some really wonderful people. I can't do this all on my own, so we have educational partners, and these are people who have a heart for seniors in their business, and they've been all vetted by me. They're honorable. They will do what they say they're going to do. They'll arrive on time. They won't overcharge you, and they're just really good people to work with. And they are here every month to help us bring these seminars and help support us and help us do this. So if you ever need any of their services, you know that these are good, trusting people that you can use. So I'm just going to pass the mic, and you guys can say a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for the really great introduction. I am Susan Langford. I am the director of Sage Living by Tabitha. So we are an independent living community. We house seniors 55 plus as well as college students, particularly nursing students that go to Bryan College of Nursing. We are a great community, super active seniors, and come on by for a visit, even if it's not anything that you're interested in at this point in your life. Just come and check it out, see the building, have some coffee, join one of our activities. We'd love to see you.
And do you have an event coming up in April?
We have lots of events. Oh, yes. We have lots of events. April 25th, we are having a spring clean event. And I will have a flyer for that next month. But basically, it's a free shredding event by Paper Tiger, so you can bring all your shredding. Yes. Free shredding in the parking lot, and then inside our building we'll have these community partners were invited to participate, and some other community partners of just some information that is relevant to seniors and wellness and our community. We're going to have the venue there. We're going to have yoga instructor, lots of different community partners. So,
What was the date again?
April 25th from 2 to 4.
Mark your calendars.
Yes, and I will have a flyer next month, and we can send that, we'll put that on the website as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim Nesha. I'm with Caring Friends. It's in-home care. We're non-medical, so we can help out with anything from transportation, doing errands, in-home cares like housekeeping, meal prep, things like that. So we age anywhere from 4 years old, because we do have kids on our service, up to whatever. So if you know of anybody that's looking and needs some cares, please give me a call.
Hi, my name is Reagan with the Alzheimer's Association. Here in Nebraska, we provide free education for groups. So if you have a group that you belong to or a club, we would love to have you, or we would love to come talk to you about the 10 warning signs or caring for a loved one. We also have support groups, or I may have already said that, sorry. And then all the money that we've raised through the walks and other fundraisers, we have donated over $100 million to research. So what's really important is that we're starting to find a cure. We don't have one yet, but there are treatments that do help progress or slow the progression of Alzheimer's.
Good morning, I'm Kelsey Hutchison with Oasis Senior Advisors. We are a free resource for seniors and their families to utilize when it comes to organizing for a plan of care, whether that means in-home care, medical home care, or if you just think your home is too much and you'd like to look at the communities Lincoln has to offer and what that looks like from a financial standpoint or a care standpoint, or even just what area of Lincoln I want to be in. We're happy to sit with you, narrow down that list for you, and then coordinate any tours and help you out with that. We also, one of the primary folks that we work with is your adult children. So sometimes you may be in the hospital and this decision is having to be made by your adult children. So we're a great resource to introduce to them so that they can kind of do that legwork on your behalf as well if something were to ever happen. So I'm Kelsey with Oasis Senior Advisors.
My name is Dave Tuttle. I am the senior agent for American Senior Benefits. What American Senior Benefits is we are the everything. We are. We specialize in seniors, Medicare, all that stuff, Social Security. I know what it takes to get you signed up, to make sure everything happens smoothly, because I'm sure it's not easy. So what we bring to the table is knowledge. We also bring to the table over 200 companies that we have partnered with. 200. So if there's nothing you're going to need in your life, in your retirement, that we can't help you with. And I can say that without a doubt. So if there's any need you have or whatever, just give me a call. I'm easy to get along with, usually. Don't ask my wife. And I look forward to helping people, because that's what we are. We're in the helping business. So.
Good morning, my name is Shelley. I am the Center Manager at Archwell Health. We are located on 48th and O Street, right by Super Saver and Target and Chick-fil-A. We had our grand opening yesterday, had about 250 people from the community. Some of them in this room that I love dearly. They have been excellent supporters and good people that I've been associated with. I'm here with Rodney and Taylor, they're our membership consultants. We are a primary care physician group for those 60 and older on a Medicare Advantage plan. So if you are looking at changing a provider, if you're looking at getting help from switching from Medicare to a Medicare Advantage because the premiums are getting a little bit out of control, please stop in and talk to us. We can help you with that. That change has to happen before March 31st this year. So if you're looking for help, please stop by. We did bring some event calendars. I've got on the table out there. Even if you choose not to be a member, come to our events. We're doing bingo, we're doing a luncheon next week to kick off March Madness. It's gonna be a fun event. So come by, even if you're not a part of our group, we'd love to have you. If you have any questions, just stop by.
I'm Doug McCallum. I'm the Director of Senior Ministries here at St. Mark's. We welcome you all. We're sorry that it snowed last week, but we're glad you're here. And we do monthly trips. We have a 56 passenger bus, and so we do monthly trips, and you're all welcome to sign up and go with us. Next month we're going to Omaha to Lawrence and Gardens. So there's information out here on our table about that. So we do a number of monthly trips, and you're all welcome with that. If you have any concerns or you have any questions about St. Mark's, we have a table out here. We're more than happy to share what we do here at St. Mark's, but welcome.
Hi, I'm TJ Crastel. I'm with the Nebraska Real Estate Specialty Group with Nebraska Realty. We are a team within Nebraska Realty that specializes in helping seniors transition. We can come and check your house out, make sure that it's all set up for aging in place. We can also help you with moving out of your house, downsizing, decluttering, all that kind of stuff. We are the founders and organizers of Savvy Seniors, and we are happy to be here to serve you guys.
So thank you again to all of our educational partners for helping us and bringing us here today. So we're going to get back to our questions. And let's go ahead and start with Gina again. You're at the top of the list. How do you help donors actually feel connected to the causes that they support, even after their lifetime? How do you help people feel like they're still connected when they give?
Well, we have something called the Keystone Remembers. We do an annual luncheon every year, and we honor someone who's passed and who's done great things in the senior community. I love that. One of my most fun things is calling the family. We have a nomination process and people send in nominations. We just awarded, and I can't tell you because we haven't notified the family yet. We just got that on Monday. It is awesome. So the whole family comes to the luncheon. We have Rod Fowler's our MC. He talks about the person. They light up. That family is so excited, and they come back every year because they want they feel the same emotional connection to the next family. Obviously, it's sad when somebody passes, but to see them being honored after they've passed in front of a room full of, we have 300 people at the country club, it's amazing. They feel so valued and honored that their life meant something. And so we continue, they come back every year because they want to see the next family get honored.
And when is that next Keystone Luncheon? And can anybody go?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm unabashedly unafraid. I don't know if you picked up on that. May 20th is our next Keystone Luncheon. I do have business cards on the table, and there's a barcode on the back. All you gotta do is put your picture on your phone up to that, and that'll go right to our website. But anyone is invited to that. We have tickets online you can purchase. If you are an organization and want to buy a table and sponsor, all that good stuff, it's all there online. I won't take that, but thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, I plan on being there. Let's see, Les. Next question. How do you navigate conversations with your family about your philanthropic giving, and how do they feel about your decision to support causes beyond their immediate family?
Well, before we had our foundation, we really didn't do much of that, okay? Because it was more of a personal choice. Once we established the foundation, as I said, if you're a sibling or a child of ours, you're on the board, and also their spouses. So I want everyone's opinion is important and valued. I don't want to be the ramrod and say, what are you going to do here? You know, Mom, Dad, what do you want to do? So what we do is the board members will nominate charities when we do our meeting right around Thanksgiving every year. So they'll nominate charities. Some of them now we have pretty much established, but they'll come up with ideas and search out charities that they feel are important that we should give to. And so we get down and we have all the charities that we have in front of us. We have whatever the amount of money that we're going to give, and so everyone does a secret ballot, you might say. And they put in the amount that they want to give to each organization, and we look at the totals, and we kind of work it out. So that's how we do it, and I think it's good, and it's like everyone has an input, and that's what we want to do. Oh, I was overruled there was only one time ever when my son goes, Dad, what do you want to do? You know, that was only one time. But our kids surprised us because there was one note we had my wife's church is a Sweet Home. They were doing a renovation. And I was thinking 10,000, she was thinking 5. And the kids go, well, how much does it need? It was 25,000, so we gave a big donation. Not because of Mom and Dad, but because of what the kids decided they were. So I think you get them involved, and then, like I said, I want to get the next generation involved too.
Well, that's good that you're getting the family involved, and they obviously have picked up on your traditions and your gift of giving. Tom, in your experience, or did I ask you what are the most, I think I asked you that already. So how can sharing family traditions through a memorial service help preserves one's legacy?
Well, it's traditions with families. You know, we see this in a lot of families. They have traditions, whether it's going out and releasing some balloons. Maybe it's going out and having a nice dinner after the service, and or bringing things from the house. Obviously, tribute videos. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are done, and but I do think that you know, one of I keep going back to the thing about communication and doing things with regards to your services and expressing to them exactly what it is that you want to do. And I will say this too. I've had 3 instances within this last couple of years where I got a call from a refuse company, and they said, and because our name was on the cremains, but somebody just willingly just went ahead and threw the cremains in the trash and forgot about it. Had another instance where an individual was moving out of their storage, and the only thing that they left back was their cremains of, I don't know if it was a parent or who it was. These things happen, and I think it's absolutely horrible. I had another one where cremains were abandoned by a tree out in the park. They just left them out there. So communicate, write down what you want. I've got a lot of materials back over here. If nothing else, if you just do a record guide. By the way, I want to mention to you, Mr. Crassley, you make a good-looking funeral director. Look good.
Maybe he could get a job.
Yeah, come see.
Part-time job. Well, so now you got me really curious, Tom. What do you do with these remains that are given to you that are left behind?
Well, it's really hard for us to know what to do, even though we know the individual didn't want them. There's not a lot legally that we can do, and so you know you hear these horror stories about funeral homes when they close down, and they've got all kinds of macabre. That's usually what the word comes up. But the fact of the matter is, people do abandon cremains. They really do. So.
I think that's really sad.
Well, it's a sad part of our society. I mean, this says a lot about some of the people that and even some family members they just don't care. Just don't care.
So they've left a legacy, but probably not the kind of legacy that they
There's
were
not a lot we
intended.
can do. I mean, there's a what's called a communal ossuary at one of the local cemeteries, and we haven't really done that because maybe there's somebody else in the background that will step forward and want to do something.
Oh yeah, never thought about that. Okay, Gina, back to you. What advice would you have for someone who wants to give but feels like, I don't really have very much money. It's not going to make a difference. You probably would laugh at me if I gave you how do you handle that? Is there a gift that's too small?
Never. There's never a gift too small. We are appreciative of every gift that comes along because, like I said, some of the needs are very small. So your small gift can really meet a need, and collectively, we put that in a collective pot per se, and they definitely can help people. We started something called the 65 Society just because of that. Because we had people like, I really don't have a lot to give, but they want to do something, and we want to encourage that. We need the next generation because we're all getting older and we need them to help us. So we started something called the 65 Society. Again, all the information's on the table there. $65 donation, you get listed as a founding member because we just started it last May. So it's a nice way to start getting involved. But I tell you, you made the point about giving. There's so much more about giving for the giver The giver feels great about giving, and all of a sudden that kind of attaches you to the organization you're giving to. You become more involved. You want to know. You want to help. What are things that I could be doing to actually benefit this organization that I'm giving to? So no gift is too small. No gift is too large either. So I just want to put that out there, Les.
Okay, and the 65 Foundation, is that what it's called?
Yeah, 65 Society.
65 Society. Is it just a one-time gift? Can I give monthly or $65? Can I give
You can do it.
$650?
$6,650. Yes, you can give it any. We ask for, you're not limited to, but we ask for a $65 initial donation. And then if you want to continue that on a monthly basis, which is awesome, it just kind of gets into your giving. You just like paying a bill, but hopefully it's not as drudgery as paying a bill. It's something that you're actually giving to. So 65 gets you in. If you want to give more, absolutely, you can do as much as you want.
And I think that you do not have to be 65 to participate, right?
Absolutely not. We really did it for the young people. We call it Saving Our Seniors, and we really do have to get the young people involved because the baby boomers are a lot of us, and there are very few in the next generation that we're going to need to take care of us. So we've got to get them interested. And if I may say something, children causes are everywhere. I've been a fundraiser for many, many, many years. I was with Tabitha for quite a while. And I would go and sit down with someone and say, the University of Nebraska puts out a book of all the grants. It's probably about 1.5 inches thick. And I challenged all my donors. I said, find me one that says for seniors. There aren't any. It's not a sexy cause. You can't put seniors on billboards. It's not legal. You can't do that. And it's a harder sell. So you have to go one-on-one. So all of you do make a difference because they're just not readily available. You can't, it's not giving for children. And there are a lot of those grants.
And there are a lot of seniors that have needs, a lot of them. I know I deliver Meals on Wheels, and it's just heartbreaking sometimes what we see. Let's see, we're going to Les here. Les, have you ever received a donation or an act of kindness that's personally impacted you and helped you make them feel differently about giving and generosity?
Before I answer that, I want to pick up on something that Gina said. You know, giving is not equal, it's proportional. He who's given much is expected. You know, that's in the good book, okay? So, I mean, I think giving, it has to come from the heart, and the giver does receive some good feelings from giving. Probably, if I look back at my life, the significant gift would have been 1975, when we had a trip to Roper's and Son. My mom passed away, okay? She died suddenly of a heart attack. And I was talking to Tom earlier. He did the service, and he doesn't remember it, but I do. Yeah. So anyway, we were a young family living together, and trying to figure out how we're going to get by. My parents are divorced, and so we're trying to figure out how to get. I'm not going to look at her. Okay. So, not that I'm just going to look at this side of the audience. Okay. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to get by. And I think in total, I think several $100s people gave us, community event or whatever. And the one gift that comes back to mind is my cousin, who was 10 years older than me. Now, I was 20 at the time. This guy's 30, so I thought, this guy's old, Now 30 seems pretty young. But I don't remember what anybody else gave, but he gave us $100. $100. So now, I did the little mental math here. The rule of 72 is on the CPA, so bear with me. If you take like 6% interest, that money will double every 12 years. So 100 becomes 200, becomes 400, becomes 800, becomes 1,600. With interest, that's probably the equivalent of about a $2,000 donation to our family. So that's probably the one that, and sometimes I answer questions by saying it's in the book. That story's in the book, in my book that I wrote about, because it's important. It wasn't an important thing at the time. It made a huge difference. Something that impacted my feeling about giving to others. It still does. Quit one before I cry.
Thanks, Les. Let's see, Tom. What is one thing that you've learned about the importance of legacy through your work in the field that you do?
Well, a lot of what I've learned is from those who were before me. So my father, my great uncle Max, And, you know, it's about respect and taking care of, I mean, we've been around for almost 125 years, and so we've grown up in this community. Very proud of what this community has become. I mean, Lincoln's a great town, great place to raise your children, and so, but yeah, it's about treating somebody, and it's about taking care of everybody. You know, I mean, it's worth fighting for sure. But most of what I've learned is through my dad. He was a hard worker and came to work every day, 5 and 6 days a week. Well, guess what? I'm there 5 and 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. So I'm dedicated to what I do, and I'm darn proud of that. I'm proud of my father, and I'm proud of my great grandfather. Even though I didn't know him, my grandfather, I was probably 2 years old when he passed, so he was early as well. And so that's one of the things that's just a gift to me, and I want to be able to pass that gift on to hopefully another generation. I've got 2 girls that they're not going to go in the business. They're in their 30s, but I've got a 60-year-old grandson that I'm kind of working on just a little bit. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, and your family has 4 generations of helping people leave their legacy behind. So that in itself is a huge legacy to not only your family, but the community. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have some questions for all of you, and whoever would like to pick up the mic for these questions, you can. I'd like to know, how has your understanding of legacy evolved over the years? Who can describe that for me?
Great question.
Yep, that's
Well, it's in the book. This
Get
is
a copy.
shameless plug, but I mean, I'm really proud of the book, and it took 2 years to write, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of tears. I never thought, I can tell you, I never thought I'd be sitting up here on a panel like this when I was a young CPA coming out of college, okay? We grew up, we were poor, okay? And never had an opportunity to do something like this, to actually be sitting up here and have Gina hand the mic to me to talk about legacy. Well, your legacy is what you leave behind, and I think probably the best investments we make in this world are the investments we make in people. Not making sure your bank account grows up and get the right certificate of deposit or long-term investment, but invest in people. Because that's really what you leave behind, is to impact you on other people. And without that, what's it worth? And Tom would attest to this. I don't think you've ever seen, because you hear this story, I don't think you've ever seen a trailer with a pot full of money and personal possessions behind the hearse, right? You've never seen that. And it's true. What do you see behind the hearse? You see a bunch of cars. And that is the legacy that we all should be looking for. And you all are leaving your own legacies in your own ways, different ways. Your grandchildren, children, the community, the things the people that you've impacted. So I hope that's
Great. Okay. Does anybody have a common myth about legacy that you wish people would understand more?
Not quite sure. I don't know. It's. Repeat that question again, because I had a thought and then I lost it.
Okay. What's a common myth or misconception about leaving a legacy that you wish more people understood?
Well, in my profession, common myth is, and this is probably one of the biggest hindrances of people not coming in to, say, prearrange or even sit down and talk, or at least get some records down about coming into a funeral home and doing that, or even giving us a call. I think everybody's used to the old movies that a guy that looks like a lurch, walking around the funeral home, or that it's a scary place to be, and it's really not. I think that's one of the common myths of people. In addition to probably nobody really wants to talk about it, and so you just kind of keep pushing that thing down the road. So, you know, I'm a pretty funny guy. I can sit there and sit with anybody, and be able to talk to them and you know, help them out. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, I bet you're a big comfort to that family.
Try to be.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I did.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I've been to, this month, this year, I've been to more memorial services and celebrations of life than I care to say. It seems like they're all hitting. And that's because I'm gonna be 70 this year, and, you know, people in our circles, and we're all in this, it's gonna happen someday. So I've actually started to write my service, you know, what I want the outline. And we have a new pastor at our church, and I talked to her on Monday. I said, you know, if I go down, Dave Malloy, I can say his name, Dave's gonna do my, you can be up there because I don't know you, okay? We didn't know you. I don't want someone talking about me that doesn't know me and say, well, I hear the Les was this and Les was that. I want someone that really knows me to talk about it. So I go over, she said, have you told others about this? I said, yeah, I told Dave, and I told another Dave, and I told Brad, and so I told my wife, and so I think that's something that we all should think about doing, is write down a few things. Okay, here's the things you want to have in your service. And, you know, he's gonna have a big party, something like I want to have too, you know, and so I think that's something that could benefit your family, because I think Tom would attest to the fact that when the loved one dies, that's the trauma and the sheer anxiety, it affects decisions. And if you have your wishes ahead of time, and you have maybe like what you want to have for a service, you know, kind of service, that would be very helpful.
I do have something to add. It's a little bit of a story. It has nothing to do with the end of your life, but your legacy is what you leave. And I'm going to give an example of my daughter. And I always said, respect your elders. Hugely important to me. But children don't hear what you say because your actions are so loud. So they've seen me in my reverence to the senior population. My daughter was on a bus ride from Boston to New York. In a college student, you could get it for $20. And there was a lady standing on the train, and my daughter's like, oh ma'am, please take my seat. In New York, you don't talk to people. But she's from the Midwest, so she did. And the lady's like, oh, no. And she says, my mother would kill me if I did not offer you my seat. And the lady's like, that's okay. She goes, then I'll stand next to you. And so the lady, it's a 4-hour train ride. So the lady sat down, and they talk. And Marcel Bev knows Marcel. Marcel gets to New York, and this is before cell phones that are, you know, we had the flip phones then. She's like, Mom, will you check my email for me? And I said, yeah. And I said, there's a lady on here. And she goes, well, read it. And my aunt met you on a train, and she insists that I have lunch with you. He was the executive producer of the CBS Nightly News.
Oh, wow.
And he says, my aunt was so impressed by you. He said, you put me down on your resume for any job opening. She now works for Google and does very well in New York. Manners matter, and my legacy, hopefully to my children, is not that I preached it, but they've seen me in action. And I think that's a legacy. So if you have your family needs to see how you live. That's your legacy.
Good point. And you kind of answered my next question. What are some simple everyday ways someone can start building their own legacy today? So I think you pretty much answered that, Gina. Thank you. How can people ensure that their legacy actually reflects a version of themselves?
You know, I keep harping on it. Communication is key. And even if you're not a very good communicator, at least just go ahead and jot stuff down on paper. And you know, I go back to you know, my dad and him being in the business as long as he has. So he has seen a lot, just about everything. I've seen a lot. I've seen just about everything. When it came time for Mom passed away about 20 years ago now, and so he lived alone, which he was fine. He had a couple girlfriends that he ran through. By the way, there's some stories on those too, but you know, he decided that he was going to go into legacy estates before he really needed to. And because he has seen several instances where somebody says, I'm not leaving the house. and so, and then where they end up, they may fall and they may stay there for a couple of days. He wanted to make sure that we weren't the ones to say, Dad, it's time. Now, using his car, that's a whole different thing. At 96, we haven't been able to take his keys away yet. But I have secretly followed him home a couple times. He actually does pretty good. A little slower than he used to be, but yeah.
Oh, good. Well, that's
So he's a smart guy, and I've learned a lot from him about things that I want to do with regards to my estate, and before my wife puts me in a home. She's a little bit younger than I am.
well, and some of those are really nice communities to live in. So, let's see. How has passing down traditions made a difference in your own lives or the lives of others that you know?
You talk about manners, matter, okay, so one of the things that's really important to me is if we're at a ball game and we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance, or not the Star Spangled Banner, it's important to my grandkids to put their hand right here. Put your hand at your side and pay attention. I think that's something that's important, and I think they get it, because if they don't do it, they get one of these, and I say that's because both your grandpas were in the service, and they were in World War II, and we should respect that, respect the elders. And so I think that's probably, I guess what I would say as far as leaving a legacy is be present in people's lives. That's what it's all about. And when Merle Haggard died, okay, you know who Merle Haggard was? And I'm a huge Willie Nelson fan, so his best friend, Willie Nelson, he wrote a song about he'll never be gone. It was something to the fact, I knew it was going to be a tough day when I got the news and Merle died. Well, he said his memory lives on. And I think that's really what the legacy that we all have is the memory of who you are lives on beyond you. So you probably have this happen in your life. You might be doing something and you think about your mom, think about your dad, think about someone that has passed away, because that memory lives on and something that they did might have impacted you. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and bring in honor. Good.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions right now. TJ, if you want to take the mic around, who has a question for our panelists? I knew she would.
Watch out.
Uh-oh.
Don't give the microphone.
Anybody better?
My question is for Gina. Do you have any aging beauty tips?
Those are top secret.
You have not changed in 30 years.
Thank you, my dear friend.
Yes, seriously, you could do a separate,
Sister, less sister.
Alicia, a separate
My
seminar.
neighbor, my
Gina,
former neighbor.
beauty.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
me that question.
Oh, yeah, answer.
Tom, there must be a form that you have for all this information.
I do, and so I've got some burgundy folders over here, and so it's called a record guide. Oh, I almost forgot about that. So it's called a record guide. So it has some of the background information. Your when you were born, who your parents are, a social security number if you want to give it to us. It's safe with us, but I had one gentleman the other day that would not give it social security no matter what, but he's going to have to eventually. So, and then there's information that, what you did, what was your occupation, that if you belong to any clubs or organizations that you want to go ahead and put into your obit. There's also a space there for family members, and then on the back side, then it'd be any service information. So if there was anything specific that you wanted to do, any personalization ideas, what type of music that you want, and so yeah, everything's in there. So my suggestion, like to tell people, if nothing else, just get
started.
Get started. You don't have to pay ahead of time. I mean, you can work on that later. What prompts a lot of people, and we get this call every day too. So if somebody's trying to get themselves eligible for Medicaid, They have to get in spend down situations. The monies that you put towards a funeral plan is exempt from, you don't have to, you can just, it's irrevocably assigned to the funeral home. So Medicaid can't take those monies away, and then you've got nothing.
Good. That's good to know. Had another question up here, or no, back there, Betty.
Sorry. Hi. Thank you, Tom. You're exactly right. Communications, because my husband had incurable cancer for 3 years, but he was going to go on and on. So the other thing I would suggest to all is some of your kids pay attention to some of the information. Some kids don't. And my husband and I, we were married. He was quite a bit older than I was. So I called upon one of his good friends who knew him before I knew him and filled in a lot of background. And that helped a lot when we were putting together his obituary, for example, because there were even things that I either had maybe heard but didn't know much about. And his obituary, a lot of people were like, wow, I didn't know all that about him. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so mine's going to be the same situation because I am older than my wife. So she's going to have to rely on some of my friends to fill in some of that past as well. She thinks she knows me, but she doesn't.
and he kept waiting to tell me.
Have a question up in front.
A comment and a question for Mr. Roper. Humor works for me. I think it works for both of us, but we've had a big box where we just threw things in as we thought about it. And just last week or so, I attempted to at least sort it out a little bit, at least between the two of us, and told my daughter I've been working on the death box. So now we talk about put it in the death box and they know where it is, and they may have to sort through a lot of stuff, but hopefully, songs or bits and pieces and a million different ideas to go in a folder. They can choose from there, but, and the other question for Mr. Roper, are you still associated with Aspen?
We have never been associated with Aspen. John, he worked for us for
He worked for you,
a few
okay.
years,
Okay.
yeah, and then he branched off.
Okay, is that the university place you were talking about?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, and I love the idea with regards to the death box because it takes away that fear, and it's it's informational, and so there's things that the kids might go ahead and include in your death box, things they hadn't thought of before, but it just takes away that stigma. I think it's a great idea. Humor goes along.
Can I just add something quick to that? So my poor kids have me as a mom. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hear, you are the apple of my, I'm like, I want that at my funeral. So they're like, Mom, stop calling us with things about your funeral. I'm like, well, you could sing You Are My Sunshine because my legacy is them. So whatever they want, the funeral's for them. It's not for me, I'm gone. So they hate it. They're like, Mom, stop calling us with your death songs.
This might sound kind of morbid, but you could write your own obituary. And I attended a celebration of life for a guy who was like 88 years old, and I didn't know he was sick or anything, but he actually wrote his own obituary. Now, some of the stuff in there were a little quirky, but that's what he wanted in there. So if you want to make sure that that song's not in there or in there, I think you do that, and it doesn't, you have all probably the history, and you can just put it down, and you don't have to write the complete thing, but help your survivors out by doing that, perhaps.
And yeah, I think writing your obituary is a good idea. I always tell people now, because the newspaper is becoming really expensive anymore. And so make it 2 versions. Let's do a short version for the newspaper, and then a longer version we can use for our website, which we don't charge for, and then also the bulletin that we may print up for you. So something to think about.
I don't really have a question in a sense, but it's something I like the way spread. My career has been nursing, and then of course I worked in art mentoring and even with the Lincoln Public Schools with children and so forth. But I have observed by being around patients and so forth that one good thing people can do is set up their legacy with something they write. My mother happened to do it, and it turned into a book. It was Waiting for My Sailor. But the beauty was, a lot of the things even her children didn't know about her, now her grandchildren have known and knew what went on. And when we could say, well, our generation doesn't have too much, we had Vietnam, and we've had a lot of things. And there's a lot of that children have not been exposed to. But as they grow older, then their interest in the family is even greater. And I think it's a beautiful thing even to take time to maybe just sit and use a tape recorder or something and let someone else tape it. But at least to give the story to the family. So when you are gone, they have your legacy. They know what went on.
Exactly. And by the way, bless you for getting into the nursing business. My former wife was a nurse. It takes a special breed to do that. And one of the real gifts to us. So my maternal grandfather, he was a farmer, hardworking guy, and but one of the things he liked to do was talk, and so he would sit there and he'd talk to the cows while he's milking them and talking to himself in the tractor. And so one of the things that we ended up doing was giving him, and this was of course a number of years ago, but it was an old reel-to-reel, and he would sit down in his. That's back really before TV was popular, people would watch. And so he just sit there and talk in the microphone. And so we've got hours and hours and hours. We got it all digitized of him just talking to himself. And it's I mean, to go back and to be able to hear his voice and talk about everything that he wanted to talk about is pretty cool.
Well, the other thing I was going to add to it was when we're looking for the things to do even now, there are those people, I keep saying we need a latchkey savvy seniors, but there are a lot of people that their loneliness is there. And my one sister lived in an area that they could do it. They selected some older person, and then she would go to that gentleman, I think once a month, and give him a special dinner and spend the evening with him. But there are those things to do just to get, so you're working with the community a little bit to be remembered. I mean, and you learn a lot about these elderly people. I've just been amazed at sometimes what they have done and so forth. And I can tell you one thing about the Roper family. My grandmother, back prior to the war, lost her husband, and she'd had a son pass away and was really in bad shape financially. And your grandfather was the one that buried my grandfather, and everything was done in a beautiful way. And I know he probably got money back as time went on, but he still had that much attitude about what he was doing.
There's, again, growing up in this community, excuse me, and there's just some people some hard luck people who haven't been able to make anything of themselves. They've got some issues, and they don't have anything. And so, in cases like that, we take them down to county general assistance, and so we'll do. Unfortunately, things have kind of changed right now. The county will only pay for direct cremation with no service. You can't have anything anywhere, which I think is an absolute travesty. And but we still do that very same amount for a much reduced. There's other funeral homes that they don't want to be a part of that. So, but that's not what I was taught. That's not what we were taught. You take care of your community. That's what we do. Thank you.
All right, now I'm just gonna just plug Senior Stories here. Tom had talked about doing the reel-to-reel, and Sharon talked about the getting some recording done of stories. I do the Senior Stories podcast, and on your guys' evaluation, there's a little line there that says that you're interested in having your story told on the podcast, that's a great way. I will come wherever you want to and record your story as long as it takes, and we'll get you on a podcast for your family to be able to listen to. So, yeah.
I have a question for Tom and then Les. Tom, it sounds like Roper and Sons will be around forever, but if it would close, what happens to all those prearranged arrangements?
So, everything that we have would, like, for example, the pre-arrangements that we have, or ones that are prepaid, everything is reported with the Nebraska Department of Insurance. So those plans stay in place. The records would go to the State Department of Insurance as well. And so everything would stay there. But we're not going anywhere.
And Les, you mentioned you did the Storyworth.
Yes.
Is your book based on that, or are they two separate things?
I did a Storyworth to get all of it down in a format, okay? So Storyworth, you have the questions, and then you can do what's called a sample book, I guess you call it, which downloads it to a PDF. And so I did a Storyworth, and I'm so happy about it. Bought a bunch of books and given it out to my family at Christmas, and then other people wanted, so I bought some more. But I realized that that's not the most economical way to get that book out there. The way to do it, my next book, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Storyworth, and it's like $99, and then you can get up to 480 pages. And I got my money's worth, let me tell you. And you can put pictures in or whatever. But you can do a PDF of it, and then what you do is take that PDF and you take it to Amazon PD something publishing, and you could drop what is it, TJ?
Kindle Direct Publishing.
Kindle Direct,
KDP.
Kindle Direct Publishing. So you take that PDF and drop it into their format, and then
Or have your grandchild do that for you.
Or have a grandchild, and then it sort of creates the same book, and then you get I had to do a different cover than what the original was on, but it's they're cheaper. Okay, they're a lot cheaper than buying the Storyworth books in bulk. And then probably now it's on Amazon, so people can, if they wanted to do it, just Les Robbins, The Road Less Traveled Robbins. If you Google that, it'll come up, and you can buy the book on Amazon, either the hardback or the paperback or the Kindle version. And I make a whopping 11 cents on the hardback, 16 cents on the paper book, and my real payoff is if you buy the cheap version, the Kindle version, I make $1.05. So it's it's a big deal. I just did that so I can track the sales.
And Gina has to leave, so we're going to excuse Gina here. But thank you so much, Gina. She's got her board meeting she needs to get to. Thank you so much, Gina.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and so now we're going to have our educational partners come up, and we have some door prizes, and you have all been given education evaluation. Please fill these out, even if you have on our registry, but to be eligible for the door prize, they do need to be filled out completely. And we have some questions on there. Our seminars are totally free, but we want to improve our seminars. We want to find out what you guys are wanting to hear. We want to find out other ways that we can help you and benefit your life. So if you could please just take a minute, and that's the only thing that we ask you to do, is that you completely fill out these questionnaires for us. And then we will have a drawing. And Les's book is going to, are you leaving a copy for the?
You can give this one away.
Okay, so we'll put that one in the drawing too. Thank you, Tom. Okay, thank you so much.
I'm going to go ahead and leave those here.
Okay, I'll pick them up and drop them off.
There's a box underneath.
Okay.
I got to come back this way anyway.
Okay.
We'll leave.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Give them a big hand. Okay, if our educational partners could come up and show us what you got here. We got some door prizes to give away. How many likes things that are free? Today's your lucky day. You might win something. Over there? Yeah, come on over here. And I'll just pass the mic down and you guys can explain what you have.
So I have everybody's evaluation.
I have a little self-care package that has some candles, bath salts, and a mask and hair stuff.
I have this wonderful green mug for St. Patrick's Day, and it's filled with goodies.
My little gift would have been better last week during the blizzard, because it's all things warm and cozy. So we have like some hot drinks and some biscottis and some coffee.
We just have a little movie popcorn set with a silicone holder to cook in the microwave.
Hi, we have Double Your Luck. It is St. Patrick's Day. It's the month of luck. So we've got, in one mug, we have the Farmer's Almanac, because that is truth, is it not? And then in the other one, we actually have a puzzle book, and then there's all kinds of fun little just St. Patrick's Day trinkets and whatnot.
Well, I have a $25 comfort food. To Stouffer's. If you've ever eaten there.
Les, you wanna get over here with your book? And Les has his book. Go ahead and grab your book.
Will it be signed?
Oh, resolution.